Living as an individual within a family system, primarily a dysfunctional family system, can really make you feel ganged up upon. It can also make you feel very depressed, lonely, and withdrawn. Family dynamics are complicated, and when I was becoming a new therapist, the last thing that I thought I would be doing is counseling families. I have always had a love for children and adolescents and being their advocate and helping their parents and caregivers and guardians support them properly. But what I never wanted to do, which is become a family therapist, is something that I am doing now. And I feel like I'm growing over time as a family therapist, so I can handle a lot of the dysfunction and toxicity that I often see. But there are times when I find myself shocked that certain clients or people that come in for family treatment cannot see exactly what the dysfunction is. A lot of them believe that their families are normal, that they are functioning at a subpar level, that they are functioning at a good level, when reality says, no, you're not. Family dysfunction typically includes three important things. One, a need for control from parents, right? Or the children, but mainly the parents. Two, traumatic bonding, which I'm going to talk a little bit about as we go on through the video. And three, perfectionism. When you have those three things as the core and the foundation of a family, you're going to lose. Because a family can't survive on those things. We all play family roles, but the success is often found in open communication, mental health treatment or psychotherapy, reducing addiction and other addictive and obsessive behaviors, I can say. And also making sure that a family hasn't become conditioned to approach the world from a dysfunctional point of view. So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about family roles, which was a highly requested video by three of my current clients and a lot of you on my YouTube. And I'm going to pick and pull apart some of the dysfunction that you are likely to see just because these roles exist. But before we jump in, let me briefly introduce myself in case you're new. My name is Tamra. I'm internationally and board certified in trauma therapy. I'm licensed in mental health. I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults who are dealing with trauma. Let's go ahead and jump in. So I think that families are interesting, but they're also one of the most interesting groups that comes into a private practice to get therapy. One of the reasons why I highlight private practice is because often private practice entails a slower form of treatment. You're going to get maybe weekly or bi-weekly psychotherapy. You can bring in as many individuals that you want. You can work on things for a long period of time, and you can also pay out of pocket or let your insurance carry the bill, whatever one you decide. But treatment is often extended. It entails looking at childhood history, looking at the trauma from multiple angles, and then really slowly over time building resilience and strength. Private practice is where I see most families struggle the most because they bring in their family members. There's a lot of dynamics at play, and there's a lot of family roles that can be observed by the provider or the therapist. And it's just interesting to see over a long period of time just how a family became so dysfunctional. Now, there are roles that we all play in our family. I, for example, tend to play the rescuer and the hero in my family. I am the quote unquote golden child, I guess you can say, because number one, I'm the only girl between my brothers. Number two, I was spoiled to death by my mom and my grandmother. Number three, I was the one who pushed dating in the background. I pushed my own desires in the background, and I went to college and went to grad school and did an internship and did a practicum and stayed in school for 10 years. I now make sure that I support everybody in my family and that I'm showing them unconditional love and so forth. And when things go wrong, I will be there. And so that role as the golden child, the hero, is stuck with me. For you, you may be playing a role as the hero or the rescuer or the golden child as well. And you may also play the role of the scapegoat, right? You get blamed and labeled and tagged. in ways that are not okay, but you're not the only one that's struggling. It's the whole family unit, you know? So scapegoats are really, in a sense, emotionally and psychologically abused, because whoever that family member is, they're going to blame you, even though they too are the problem, right? Let me give you an example of the scapegoat. So let's say, for example, you don't like your dad because he's a psychopath, and your mom has borderline personality disorder. For many years, you were tagged as the problem child, the problem adolescent who smoked drugs and engaged in sexual activity before 18 and prostituted or, sold drugs or whatever. You were a part of a gang, whatever the situation may be, you may be tagged the problem child, the black sheep of the family for whatever reason. But what other family members in that unit fail to realize is that a lot of your behaviors are the result of what they did to you, are sometimes, I should put out there, the result of what they did to you, or it is sometimes the result of what they didn't do. Some parents just don't raise their kids, right? They're permissive. They want to be their friend. They want to be accepted. They want to be loved by their children, to the point that they lose that authoritative point of view and that healthy relationship and boundary with their children. And so because of that, the black sheep in most families becomes the target, even though the issue truly is the parents, the parenting style, the lack of boundaries, the list goes on. You may also feel that you are considered the manipulator and the triangulator in your family, maybe, certain family members, family friends who have become family, maybe your parents, say that you intentionally triangulate, meaning you become the victim, somebody's the rescuer, and you are the persecutor, right? Somehow you get stuck in that triangle. Or what could be happening is you may be labeled a manipulator, right? You do any and everything to get your way, no matter what. Could that be true? Maybe. But in dysfunctional families, labels get placed on people all the time, or somehow they slide into a role and they don't even know they're in the role. That's something to think about, the triangulator and the manipulator. You may know somebody like that in your family. The next is the family clown or the mascot. And this is the individual who rarely takes anything seriously. And when something serious does happen within the family unit, this person takes that tragedy or that situation or that trauma, right, or that dysfunction or whatever's going on in the family and turns it and skews it into a joke. Everything is funny. Everything's a joke. Everything ends with a bang, right? Everything is positive. Everything is something you should smile at, right? These overly positive people, which I talk about right here in this video, go check that out at the end of this video, they are very much selfish. I'll put it that way, right? They may even be narcissistic. It's all about them and all about how they see life and the world, and they're going to turn it into a joke no matter what. The next one is the lost child and the enabler. Now, these are two different roles. The enabler is the one who puts up with the addicted role, right? So addicted to sex, addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, addicted to love and relationships, whatever that addiction may be in that family member, the enabler provides that platform knowingly and unknowingly to that individual that they are enabling. And that creates an even bigger situation within a dysfunctional family, right? And the lost child is an individual who is typically the younger child. They're more confused about their identity. They don't feel like they have a chance at much in life. They may be very isolated and withdrawn. And in some situations, like in my own family, you may have the lost child be a very talented, smart, well-rounded individual, but they can't see their own potential because they isolate and they withdraw themselves from the rest of the family. That could be, to protect themselves, or it could be because they lack self-confidence and a high level of self-efficacy. So these are two roles you want to keep in mind as well with a dysfunctional family, the role of the lost child and the role of the enabler. Sometimes the enabler enables the lost child to be just like that, confused, uncertain, and isolative. And that is not healthy either. It's a very dysfunctional set of circumstances. These family roles can stick with you for the rest of your life, and they can create such dysfunction in your world, whether it's the role you play or the role other people play, that you find yourself desperately searching for an identity. You may also find yourself going through a long period of difficulties in your life because that role you've played has an interesting way of enabling negative behaviors and thought patterns. And so what do you do to try to deal with that? Well, you grab a hold of an identity for a little bit and get bored and move on to the next, right? Or you become depressed and you withdraw and you isolate and you stay that way. Or you create your own role within the family, but it may not be a healthy role that you're playing, or it may be multiple roles that you're playing in your family. You know, I'm the lost child one day, the next day I'm going to be the enabler, and the day after that I'm going to be the scapegoat, and you know what, next year my grandma's going to need me, so I guess I'm going to be, you know, the hero and the rescuer. And so you can flip in and out of roles, and that is not healthy for a stable identity. Research suggests that we need a stable identity in order to function in a healthy way within our family and within our own lives, right? So if your identity is unstable and unpredictable, you're not going to do very well. Pathological lying. Within a dysfunctional family unit where individuals are fitting into multiple roles, right? Your dad has a role, mom has a role, your siblings, and so do you. You may find within that dysfunctional family a pathological liar, someone who lies compulsively for no apparent gain and no apparent reason. It's just that they are responding to the dysfunction within the family unit, and so lying is basically something that they've learned to do over time. You may also see addiction of all kinds and even eating disorders within a family unit that's toxic and has kind of given the family unit, who has given all the family members a role to play, right? You know, there is some research, and I may have mentioned this in a previous video, that suggests individuals with an eating disorder often come from dysfunctional families or are sexually and emotionally abused or have some kind of trauma. And the only thing that they can control is often what goes in their mouth, right? And they can control their weight gain and they can control their weight loss. And so usually eating disorders are the result of a need for control. So you may see that as well. The next thing you might see is a loss of identity. I just spoke about that. You might find yourself feeling confused at different points in your life about who you are and who everybody else is within your family, you know? And that's a sad reality for most of us because, again, we need an identity to function. And if you don't know who you are, your entire life is unhealthy, most likely. The next thing is fear and unpredictability. You have to be able to, you know, approach your life in a confident way and know that you have what it takes to survive and to build and to grow. But when you are afraid and things are unpredictable in your world because of the unit that you have emerged from, it's going to be really hard for you to function. So you're likely to see fear and unpredictability within your family unit. You're also likely to see what's called invalidation. Invalidation is basically this, that you have an emotion, you have a thought, and you may share it with somebody that you highly respect, most likely your mom, your dad, maybe a sibling, maybe an aunt or a grandmother, and they invalidate you. They tell you, no, you're not thinking about that correctly, or no, I don't think that's what she meant, or no, I think you should probably see that in a different way. It's causing you to second guess your own rationality, to second guess your own perception of reality. And so invalidation over time can cause you to sink, because what it's doing is telling you, you don't have it right. Lack of diversity within a family and diversity encouragement. So here's what I mean by this. There are some families who only want their kids around their own particular race of people and age group and culture and ethnicity. And the sad part about that within dysfunctional families is that racism can get perpetuated through generations, right? Not only racism, but bias and discrimination, right? Also, too, just that lack of encouragement of diversity doesn't allow a family unit to spread out and learn more about other people, as that family develops over time. And I didn't just grow up with African Americans or Black individuals. I also grew up with Caucasian or white individuals. I've grown up around Indians, Native Americans, which is half my heritage, Germans, which is half my heritage. And we've just grown up around various cultures, even tribes of people. And it's so cool to be able to look at that and say, you know what? The map of my life says all of these people here from these countries in this part of the world is in connection with me. That broadened my eyes, it broadened my mindset, right? It caused me to grow. But when you don't have that within a family, because the dysfunctional family says, nope, we don't want that otherness, that difference over there, you're going to be slighted, right? Denial and secrecy is something that's likely to be present in these kind of families as well. Nothing comes out until somebody dies. Nothing comes out until it really needs to be talked about. And unfortunately, that is scary because it's going to leave you behind. You're not going to have the information within your family that you need to grow, to change, to make decisions, because you don't have all the details. So denial and secrecy, that's the final thing that you are likely to see within a family unit that's dysfunctional. This is a tough topic, guys, and I feel like I say that at the end of every video, but it is true. We cover some of the most difficult topics, you know. Let me know in the comment section below what kind of role you play. Thank you so much for being with me in today's video. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, bell button, and that thumbs up button so that everybody can have access from YouTube to this video. And you can also get notifications every time I post a video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.